morning, Rebecca.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, as we all get settled in. This is a blast from the past for me to be back home leading services, but as we know, it's just a one-off and will not be a regular. And fantastic, Natasha's in my office in the synagogue. So we're covering all bases. This is totally lovely. So everyone, welcome, Shabbat Shalom. Let me invite you to transform your sitting room, your kitchen, wherever you are, into a place where we can pray together. This is an unusual service because we're allowing all our children to overtake the hall, and doing so will be a little responsible about condensing a bit so that Natasha can join them. But and I'm hoping that our challah doesn't get eaten for breakfast. I see a teenager coming downstairs. So if we have half a challah, 1.5 challahs will cope. Let us begin with Ma Tovu. Depending on how your camera is, stand, sit, whatever. But this is us transforming our place. Page 117 for service number 3. So instead of the reading that we have at the bottom of page 117, just in anticipation of Tu B'Shvat, which is tomorrow, which we're celebrating variously Wednesday evening and next Sunday with our tree walk in Kenwood, I just wanted to share the words by the Israeli poet Nathan Zach, because man is a tree of the field. Just such a beautiful poem that strangely on the foot of page 117, the theme for Siddur Lev Chadash is the cycle of growth and decay, cooling breezes, changing seasons. But these are his words. Because man is a tree of the field, like man, a tree too is planted. Like a tree, man is cut down, and I do not know where I've been and where I will be. Like a tree in the field, because man is a tree of the field. Like a tree, man breathes in, reaching upwards. Like a man, a tree burns in fire. And I do not know where I've been and where I will be. Like a tree in the field, I have loved, I have hated, I have tasted this and that. They buried me in a piece of dirt, and I have bitterness, bitterness in my mouth, because man is a tree of the field, like a tree in the field. Let's offer our morning blessings as we do so in our service number 3. We're on page 118. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. For our eyes working and seeing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. For dressing ourselves. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. For the joy of freedom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kufufim, for straightening the bent, for the power to rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa likol tzorki, for our needs being met. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten li koach, for renewing our strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shena me'enai utnuma me'afapai, for the blessing of sleep and the privilege of waking to a new day. Sukkah de Zimra, let's offer Baruch Shama v'haya haolam baruchu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamchulal b'fi amo משובח ומפאר בשון חסידיו ועבדיו, בשפחות ובזמרות נגדלך ונמליכך, מלכנו יחיד חי העולמי, ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מחולל בתשבחות. Page 120 for Mizmor Shir, Psalm 92.
And I've turned my sound down a little bit. Please tell me if it makes a difference. And hopefully you can all hear me okay. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, 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 באמונתך בלילות. עלי עזוב ועלי נבר, עלי הדמיון בהינו. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שמחתני אדוני בפניך, עליך, עליך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. וגדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמך מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Thank you, Natasha. And then just thinking of trees, of this final bit of Psalm 92, do follow at the top of page 121. Tzadik katama yifrach ke'erez balva non yiskei shetulim b'veit Adonai v'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yonuvun b'sever v'shenin v'rananim yihiu lahagid ki yasha Adonai suri v'lo avlata bo. The righteous shall flourish like the palm, grow tall like the cedar of Lebanon. Yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkeinu ha'el hamelech hagadol hakadosh b'shamayim uva'aretz. Ki lacha na'eh Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu. Shir u'shvacha, halel v'zimra, brachot v'hodaot, me'ata va'ad olam. Baruch ata Adonai, habocher b'shirei zimra. Page 135 for the Baruch Hu. So let's offer just the chatimot for the two. Let's offer the chatimot for the two brachot before the Shema. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzeh Hamorot. We praise you, O God, creator of light. And then, of course, that allows us to love, appreciate, distinguish ourselves as being a people informed and directed by Torah. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'yamo Yisrael, b'ahava. Praise you, O God, in love you've called your people, Israel, to serve you. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto Le'olam, Le'olam Va'ed. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you shall be on your heart, and you to all your children. And you shall talk of them when you're sitting in your house, when you're walking by the way, lying down and getting up. And you shall write them on the doors of your house and upon your gates, upon your gates. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
Leman tiskeru vasitem et mitzvotai
Hem
item
kedoshim Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Foot of page 138. Of course, today is the day that we read and hear the words Michamocha in the scroll, in Bashelach Shirat Hayam. Truly, you are first and you are last. We have no redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt, freed us from the house of bondage. And then with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song.
Mi hamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi hamocha neda b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei felem.
שירה חדשה שיפחו גואלים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו.
Adonai yimlach le'olam va'ed. Sur Yisrael kuma be'ezrat Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzavaot shamo. Go aleinu Adonai tzavaot shamo. Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Gam Yisrael.
So we turn now to the tefillah, the Amidah, in this much more intimate way that I'm now recalling, having not led a service from home for a while, that we do so in our spot, wherever we are, reaching out towards each other. Amidah, so much a prayer that we say as community and congregation. We're on page 140.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi techilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi techilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth shall declare your praise. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth shall declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר מושיע מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מחכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך? מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים. מקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו, בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו.
כבודו מלא עולם.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, דוב אדום, hallelujah.
So as we mark the end of the Kedusha, thinking of us as a congregation of generations of freeing the sanctuary so the children could be there this morning and celebrate Tu B'Shvat, this growing sense of families that we are attracting. L'dor vador, from generation to generation, we will make known your greatness. To the end of time, we will proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O our God, shall never depart from our lips. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el, HaKadosh. So let's mark Shabbat with Yismachu.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי מקדשי שביעי שבת, כולם יסבעו ויתגומתו ותחך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת, חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. שבת ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה שביעית שבת, זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. שבת ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. שבת
Baruch atah Adonai Makadesh HaShabbat. Page 144, as we offer hope that our prayers have found us, been effective in the way that we feel transformed by offering them. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu b'yamcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam b'ahavat takabel, u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha, Baruch atah Adonai she'otecha levadecha b'yera na'avod. And I'm going to ask you to say with me, that's one of the things I'm realizing I miss, that I can't sing with you this morning, Natasha. So let's offer, all of us from home, our morning prayer for gratitude, for appreciation, that discipline of finding something that we feel appreciative for. Modim anachnu lach she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu le'olam va'ed. Sur hayenu magen yishenu atahu lador vador, nodeh lecha nsaper tehilatecha, al hayenu hamsurim biyadecha, v'al nishmotenu hapokudot lach, v'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu, v'al niflotecha v'tovotecha shebachol eit erev v'avoker v'tzohorayim. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lacha na'eh lohodot.
Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim, v'rachamim. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha.
Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom. Let's take a few moments for silent prayer, reflection. Yehiyu l'ratzon
Imre fi, v'hegyon libi lefanecha, Adonai sorry, Adonai sorry, Bungo Ali, Bungo Ali. Oh, say shalom, shalom, Imrama, Fuya, say shalom, Aleinu, Le'akol Yisrael, Va'imru, Amen. Fuya, say shalom, Aleinu, Le'akol Yisrael, Amen. Say shalom, shalom, Imrama, Uya, say shalom, Aleinu, Le'akol Yisrael, Amen.
Just thinking of the words in the silent prayer that we're given, Lev tahor bara li, a pure heart create in me, and the opportunity of that renewal, refreshment every Shabbat. So let's turn now to our Torah service, slightly more intimate Torah service today. So without our choreography as usual, page 481. I'm thinking really of Mishnah Talmud Ben Bagbag, turn it and turn it, for everything is in it, and how we approach Torah both in ways of studying, in terms of liturgically hearing it, in terms of its place in our lives and how we grow from it. There are some who might say that we in liberal Judaism are further from Torah, but I do not experience that. I experience that for us, the rhythm of the reading of Torah imparts, informs, directs our lives in exactly the same way. And this morning, Bashalach, and the opportunity, that annual opportunity of Shirat Hayam, of hearing Torah chanted to this Sephardi tune, and just that sense of just sheer relief and gratitude that permeates these verses of Shirat Hayam, an opportunity to somehow learn from that sense. We know where it occurs in the context of the story of the children of Israel and their doubt and Moses' doubt. We know how that all works. We know that Midrash suggests that it was Nachshon ben Aminadav, only he who was brave enough to step foot in the waves while everyone else was cowering at the edges, wondering how on earth this enormous miracle they were being promised could remotely happen for them, despite what they'd seen in the past. And I love that. I love that often, even when we know that life generally we manage to cope, stay alive, get through, we still doubt at every stage. Nachshon ben Aminadav is considered to be a Nachshon, is the person who's ready to jump into something new without any knowledge that it will work out for them. And so it is him that walks out to his knees, to his thighs, to his hips, right to his chest with the water before it divides. And only we're told when it gets to his mouth and he offers the words Micha Mocha, are we told that the water separates and divides. There are many midrashim that says the children of Israel were able to walk on dry land. Such was the miraculous state of the waters being parted that there wasn't even mud or wet on the ground. So I urge you, if you choose to follow, actually, I think Josie is going to be sharing and may even have managed to emulate how the Torah looks with the words, the verses literally broken up like waves in the sea. It is the most onomatopoeic, if I can stretch that, to this sense of reading or chanting. So this morning, we go into our Torah service just with the words, Eternal God, give strength to your people. Eternal God, bless your people with peace, as we sing.
Adonai, Ozei Amo Yiten, Adonai, Ozei Amo Yiten, Adonai, Ozei Amo Yiten, Adonai Yivarech et Amo Bashalom.
So we are in chapter 15 of the book of Exodus, and we are, I think, going through to I'm not sure, 20, I can't remember. I love to just remind us of Miriam. Josie says it was impossible. I remember that, impossible to be able to recreate that. And I wonder whether if I show you just in this particular version of my Torah that is so beautiful, this women's commentary, it just really shows it. So delighted that Beit Tefillah invited Dora, after last week's mental health Shabbat, for an Aliyah LaTorah. So I am able, to the right of me, to call up Dora. Ta'amod, Elisheva Leah bat Rivka v'chaim levarech et haTorah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bracha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai
noten haTorah. Amen. As Yashir Moshe v'nei Yisrael et hashira hazot ladonai v'yomru lemor. Asher al Adonai ki ga'or ga'av sus v'roch v'horama v'yam ozi v'zimratya v'yihi li lishua ze'eli v'an vehu Elohei avi aroma menhu Adonai ish melchama Adonai shamo. Marchavot paro v'chelo yarav hayam umivcha shaloshav tuvu v'yam suf tahomot yachasimu yardu v'imsolot komo aven yamincha Adonai nedari b'koach yamincha Adonai Tierats oyev uvarov gaonacha ta'aros kamecha tashalach haronacha yochlemo kakash uvaruach apecha neramu mayim nitzavu kamoned nozlim kafu tohomot belev yam. Ama oyev erdo fasik achalech shalal timale mo nafshi ari karbi tori shemo yadi. Nashavta Baruchacha Kasamoyam Salelu Ka'oferet B'mayim Adarim Mi Chamocha Belim Adonai Mi Chamocha Nedaba Kodesh Nora Tehiloto Sefele Natita Yamincha Tivla Emo Aretz Nachitza Bachastacha Amzu Ga'alta Nehalta Ba'ozacha Enave Kodshecha Shamu Amim Yirgazun Chilechaz Yoshve Falashet אז נבחלו אלופי אדום, אלי מואב יום הזה מורד, נמוגו כל יושבי כנען, תיפול עליהם אימתה ופחד, Bir Gadol Zoracha Yitmu Ka'aven Ad Ya'avo Amacha Adonai Ad Ya'avo Amzu Kanihita Tiva Emo V'tita Emo Ba'acha Nachalatecha Machon Leshivtacha Pa'alat Adonai, Mikdash Adonai, Konanu Yadecha Adonai, Yemloch Leolam Va'ed. And then just these final couple of verses, not sung anymore, but just to allow us to hear what happened to Miriam. Ki vasus paro barichbo, Uvafarashav bayam, vayeshev Adonai alehem et mei hayam. Uvenei Yisrael halchu v'yavasha b'toch hayam. Vatikach Miriam hanavia achot Aharon et hatof biyada v'tetzena kol hanashim achareha b'tupim uvim Holot. So we hear Miriam, the prophet, Aaron's sister, picked up tambourine, and all the women went out after her dancing with the tambourine. V'ta'ana lahem Miriam, and Miriam chanted for them. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam netzach b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. Yeshua koach Torah. So, having had Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, I have to share with you that I had the most extraordinary morning this morning that Karen Glazer, one of our numbers, is writing a piece for the Jewish Chronicle and capturing the friendship between me and Nisreen, one of the Syrian women that came. And as luck would have it, the Jewish Chronicle turned up this morning before the service to take a photo. And before anyone else arrived, it was just him and me as I practiced the chanting. And I thought this has to go down in the memories of a rabbi's life as I sit at the kitchen table chanting while he's setting up his camera. So as we echo the Song of the Sea, we turn now to the Haftarah as we capture Deborah's song from Judges. So delighted to have you, Darren, after COVID prevented play as it was, but also an opportunity to have you back in the synagogue, as it were, our virtual synagogue, and to be well and to be together, and after all that went on for you at the end of last year.
Thank you very much, Rebecca, and Shabbat Shalom. I hope everybody can hear me. I hope you can. Good, that's great. Okay, right, thank you very much. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha b'nviim tovim, v'ratza divreihem hanemarim b'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah u'masher avdo, v'Yisrael amo, v'viei ha'emet b'tzedek. On that day, Deborah and Barak, son of Abinoam, sang this song. When Israelites let their hair grow loose, when people volunteer themselves, praise the Eternal. Listen, kings, hear, you rulers. I sing to the Eternal, I sing. I chant to the Eternal, the God of Israel. Eternal One, when you went forward from Seir, when you marched from the land of Edom, earth shook, sky dripped. Yes, the clouds poured down water. The mountains quaked before the Eternal, the One of Sinai, before the Eternal, the God of Israel. In the time of Shamgar, son of Anat, in the time of Yael, roads had fallen into disuse. Travelers had taken the back roads. All governance had left Israel, till you rose up, Deborah. You rose, a mother in Israel. Israel chose new gods. There was war in the gates. Among 40,000 in Israel, no shield nor spear was to be seen. My heart goes out to Israel's leaders, those of the people who offered themselves, praise the Eternal. You riders on white donkeys, you who sit on saddles, and you who walk the roads, ponder this well. Hark, the bards strike up among the water troughs. There they tell of victories of the Eternal, the victorious rule of the Eternal in Israel. The people of the Eternal, God, march down to the gates and call. Rouse yourself, Deborah, rouse yourself, and sing a song. Arise, Barak, son of Abinoam, take your captives. Thereupon the survivors defeated the mighty. The people of the Eternal defeated the warriors for me. Out of the land of Ephraim, that once was Amalek's, they came, and then Benjamin, after you, with your troops. Leaders came down from Machir, and out of Zebulun, bearers of the ruler's scepter. The leaders of Issachar were with Deborah. As Issachar, so Barak, they followed his charge down the valley. And in Reuben's divisions were some leaders of resolute mind. Why then do you others say behind the sheepfolds, listening to the piping to the flocks? Reuben's division had chiefs who wrestled only in their minds. Gilead stayed east of the Jordan. Why did Dan keep to their ships? Asher remained at the shore of the sea, sticking to their landfalls. But Zebulun was a troop that scorned death, along with Naphtali on the open heights. Kings came and fought. The kings of Canaan fought in Tanakh by Megiddo's waters, yet won no spoil nor silver there. From heaven itself they fought, the stars in their courses fought against Sisera. The Wadi Kishon swept them away, the raging waters of Wadi Kishon. March on, my soul, with might. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, su kol ha'olamim tzadik b'kol hadorot, ha'el haneman ha'omevoseh, hamdaber u'mekayim, shebachol devarav emet v'tzedek, al haTorah v'al havodah v'al hanavim v'al yom haShabbat hazeh, shenatan lanu Adonai Eloheinu l'kedusha limnucha lekavod al tifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach u'vavarachim otach yipara shimecha b'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. Wonderful, Darren, just so beautiful. Thank you. And I love when we get to hear the song of Deborah, one of the few women named in Tanakh in a position of judgment. And it just feels such a lovely reflection or echo of Miriam's getting that name also. Let's go to the community prayers. And I couldn't be more delighted, I should say, that when folk are ill and really not well and then get to return to community, it just brings me so much joy and gratitude for them. And I'm so happy to see Barry, my uncle, actually, member of the synagogue, and that Gillian is back with you today and in the congregation. And like my feelings about Darren, just that sense of recovery is the greatest thing. And it reminds me even more of us like trees in the field. Patricia and Alan, I'm so glad you will be offering the community prayers today.
You need to unmute, Pat.
I'm just asking them to unmute, so hopefully they can do it. Yes.
Eternal God, we ask your blessing on our Queen Elizabeth and all the royal family, as well as those who govern our country. Guide them and all who govern with a spirit of wisdom and compassion, so that they care for the citizen and the stranger and bring benefit to all the inhabitants of our land and the world.
Bless all our brothers and sisters of the house of Israel. Bless our congregation and all its members. Keep for those who seek your presence and all who are in need of healing, spiritual or physical. Let them know that you are near to comfort and sustain them.
May peace exist in the state of Israel soon and in our time. May you, eternal God, grant blessing to her, established as an age-old dream and home to the oppressed. May its leaders and citizens be inspired with the faithfulness of the aims of its founders, and may the country be imbued with the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice always.
May this Shabbat renew our energy to build and sustain a better world and to deepen our gratitude so much that surrounds us.
And let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And I know you've had a tough week, Alan and Patricia, so even more resounding to have you offer those blessings for us today. We're going to turn now to page 489 as we close this part of the service with Eitz Chaim and Hashivenu.
Eitz Chaim hi למחזיקים בה ותומכך מאושה דרכך דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיך שלום השיבנו השם אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו חדש ימינו 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 כקדם.
So beautiful, Natasha. Thank you. So I said at the beginning of the service that as we're back on this smaller Zoom service and allowing Natasha to both be with our children who are expanding right now in the hall and in our sanctuary. That sense of sharing feels really good to me. And we don't only just have Ivrea, but we have a whole new plethora of families joining Festival Explorers as a way of bringing them in and having a taste of what we offer in our synagogue. So I'm going to ask us now to turn to Aleinu and page 520.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם מלכנו לייחד את שמו, בגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושך וקרוב בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד.
Trusting in you, eternal God. We hope soon to behold the glory of your might when false gods will vanish from our hearts, idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule, when all will invoke your name, relinquish evil, and turn to you alone. So may all of us who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend, every tongue swear loyalty, before you let them humble themselves to your glorious name. Let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. Ki ha-malchut shelcha hi u'la'olamei ad timloch b'chavod. Ka'katuv b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shamo echad. So we turn now to Kaddish, to thinking of those who are mourning and marking a yahrzeit at this time. We think particularly this Shabbat of Joshua Michaels Webb, brother and J. Chester Webb and father of Sarah Rosen Webb, of Nathan Furman, grandfather of Beverly Kafka, great-grandfather of Natasha, of Sam Lake, grandfather of Richard Green, of Anna Biggins, mother of Martin Biggins, of Nicola Todd, sister of Michelle Golding, of Svi Rosenwasser, father of Ofra, grandfather of Maya, and beloved teacher of this synagogue, and Alejandrina Quiroz Araniba, mother-in-law of Dalma Loevi Araniba. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. May those who recall and remember their loved ones be comforted in their loss, as we say the words of the Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'hayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agalav izman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach leolam omer maya. Yiparach v'yishtabach, yipa'av, yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitale v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha brichu, leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiram v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamayim, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimramav, hu yaseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'al kol b'nei adam v'imru. Amen. So as we go towards the end of our service, Natasha was going to share with us singing Sadiq Katama, that last bit of Psalm 92 about the trees of Lebanon. We offer that before we go into Adon Olam, and pause for announcements from Paula between the two songs.
Katima Yifra, Yifra, Sadiq Katima Yifra, Sadiq Katima Yifra, Yifra, Sadiq Katima Yifra, Ka'eretz Balbanon Yiske, Ka'eretz Balbanon Yiske, Ka'eretz Balbanon Yiske, Yiske.
So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Lovely to see everybody in this very, like small but cohesive community this morning. It's very nice. Thank you to everybody involved in the service, to Rebecca I always think, Rebecca, when you do your chanting of Beshalach, it's so uplifting. I really love it. Thank you. And thank you to Natasha, as always, for your beautiful singing. We're so lucky to have you, Natasha. Thank you. Thank you to Dora and to Darren and to Patricia and Alan for participating in our service this morning. So just a few announcements, and feel free to interject, anybody, if I forget anything that you wish me to announce. But obviously, as we're trying to continue to keep everybody safe in our community, all our activities are online. So we've got our Tu B'Shvat Seder this week on a Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. And there are details in the weekly email of what you might like to bring to your Seder table. So do have a look at that. And then we're going to be joined by Shatil, who are the sort of training and empowerment element of the New Israel Fund, to find out about the work that they've been doing with our the Bedouin community, which I'm sure will be fascinating. And then on Sunday the 23rd, we can join a guided tour of the trees of Kenwood with our own Dan Rosenberg, who's an arborist, which sounds really interesting as well. And then you will also see in our weekly email that we are hoping to gather as many views as possible from our community about how we can manage certain elements of community life. So there is a questionnaire out at the moment. So please do click on the link and give us your views. We want as many people's views as possible. And then our regular events. So we have Cafe Ivriya tomorrow at 10 a.m. on the theme of When Torah Seems to Give Us Good Advice. So that sounds like we should all join and get some good advice. And then we have morning meditation, Tuesday to Friday as usual, and Hebrew classes and Taste of Torah on Wednesday. And then just looking forward, on Thursday, the 27th of January at 7 p.m, we will be having our annual Holocaust Memorial Day service, which will be no doubt ably led by our Kabbalat Torah class. Although I have to say, Rebecca Asher, who is in the class, he has said to me a couple of times this week, we have got another KT session, haven't we, before the service? And I said, yes, don't worry. So yeah, he's looking forward to that. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Paula. So Zoe and I went to meet Janine Weber, the extraordinary woman, Holocaust survivor, that will be joining us. Our children couldn't be prouder, having met her at Bet Shalom in Nottingham, that she has agreed to come and speak and share the service with them on Thursday week. So we've done some fantastic laying of the ground with her, and I think she's really impressed that our teenagers, so they definitely will be having one, if not more, KT sessions to help them along the way. So let's finish our service. This is your moment to go and get your wine or I think one of my children has bought me whiskey this morning. Considering I've had no breakfast, that might not be so wise, but I'll have a tiny taste as we make Kiddush. So let's end with Adon Olam. Thank you so much, Natasha, for your exquisite music. One of my favorite things is to watch your mother while you lead the service. So, and as I'm sitting here on the computer, I can see her very clearly.
Great, cool.
Adon Olam, Hashem Alach, B'terem Kol, Yesin Nivra, Nihei Nasa, B'chef Zachor, Azai Melech, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra. Acharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora hu haya v'hu hoyeh v'yu yeh v'hu yeh v'tifara Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzin Irani Eina Saba Chetza Chol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hobeh v'hu yeh v'tifara Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzin Irani Eina Saba Chetza Chol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hobeh v'tifara v'hu haya v'hu hobeh B'tifara v'hu echad v'yein sheni l'cham shelo l'chachvira v'li reishit v'li tachlit v'lo hamaz v'cham zira Saba Chefza Chol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hobeh v'hu yeh v'tifara Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzin Irani Eina Saba Chefza Chol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hobeh v'tifara v'hu haya v'hu hobeh v'tifara B'yado Afkid Ruchi Shan v'a'ira v'im ruchi v'biati Adonai l'lo ira Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzin Irani Eina Saba Chefza Chol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hobeh v'hu yeh v'tifara Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzin Irani Eina Saba Chefza Chol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hobeh v'tifara v'hu haya v'hu hobeh v'tifara
Yesha Koach, Natasha, superb. So let us offer a blessing that I don't often use from the Dead Sea Scrolls. You can follow it if you choose to. at the foot of page 529 for each one of us. I really want to honor my teacher, Rabbi David Hulbert, who taught me this particular chanting tune. And I even had a little check-in this morning at 8 this morning as he was going off to chant his and mine and me mine. And it was very nice to think my teacher, now my colleague. Yivaracha michol b'chol tov, vayishmorcha mikol ra. V'ya'ir libcha b'sechel chayim, v'yahonacha b'da'at olami, v'yisa p'nei chasadav l'chol lishlom olami. May God bless you with all good, keep you from all evil. May God teach your heart the meaning of life and grant you knowledge of the infinite. May God reach out to you with tenderness that you may have enduring peace. Amen. So hopefully you have your challah, maybe. You have your whiskey, your palwins. I'm calling my children and Kat over to share. This is a very nice homemade challah that Anthony makes. So let us go into Vashamru together. Vashamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, Bore pari hagafen. Amen. The cat doesn't have whiskey, nor do the children, it seems. So, challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Feel free to unmute, everyone.